good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Bull City Hangout 730. I'm Pat Murray. I publish the Durham Skywriter. That's Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. I invite you to check it out at durhamskywriter.com. I'll be reading just a few of the many items listed in the Skywriter, just for your information, things that are happening today. And I think I might have something, yes, and one event happening tomorrow. So, go to durhamskywriter.com at your convenience. I'm going to start with the school tools page because people in need have to feed their kids, and Durham Public Schools has free meals for the kids. You can pick them up. This is for ages 18 and under. Adults can get free non-perishable food supplies. So you have until 12:30 to get to Bethesda, Eno Valley, Githens, R.N. Harris, Hillside High, Parkwood, or Sandy Ridge. And then you have until 1:30. And by the way, the addresses are right there on the school tools page. So you have until 1:30 to get to Burton, Lakeview, Shepherd, Southern High, or Southwest. You just go to your nearest school. Also, at Chicken Hut, they have allowed people from Healthy Start Academy to set up right there in the lobby and give away boxed lunches for kids in need. Again, that's at Chicken Hut. While supplies last. They just started, and I think they'll last. Supplies usually last until like 1:30-ish, 2-ish, just to let you know. All righty, and with today being Thursday, Grace Church of Durham, they have grab-and-go meals for kids. So you just drive by, and they will hand you a bag lunch for your child. All righty, and there's still a few openings for Universal Pre-K. Read all about it on the school tools page for your youngster. Let's go to the Word page. That is the nonprofit and governmental information page. See what's happening. I just listed the classes for the American Red Cross. They have wonderful classes. Some are online only. Some have a combination of online and in person, and some are in person only. So I never really tell you about the classes for the particular day because they fill up and they really don't make an announcement that, this class is full. So there are so many classes. We're talking about first aid, CPR. They actually have classes for like babysitting, childcare training, bloodborne pathogens, all kinds of different classes. So check that out. Go to the Word page and learn about the American Red Cross classes. They have one free class. I'll just list it real quick. It is called Psychological First Aid, Supporting Yourself and Others During COVID-19. That is free. So that's for everyone. So definitely check that one out. Okay, what else is on the Word page? Durham Technical Community College, Small Business Center. All righty. Let's see. I think let's see how many items. Just one. Okay, so one class happening today. Let me see. Today's the 30th. Ooh, this is a good one. Selling on Etsy. Yeah, that's great for people who make crafts. Learn how to sell on Etsy because if I'm not mistaken, you can purchase directly on Etsy. I think when it first started, they were telling you to get people to your website. But I think now you can sell directly on Etsy. I need to find that out because I'm a toy maker. So that is going to be this evening from 6 until 8. It's free. Go to the Word page, sign up, and attend that class, Selling on Etsy. And their next class isn't until Monday. I'll just tell you the name just to let you know. CDC Guidelines for Reopening Your Food and Beverage Business. Boy, is that timely. That's going to be Monday. I won't be able to announce this on Monday because it would have happened already. So just to let you know, if you're running a restaurant, this class is going to be Monday from 9 until 10:30. Yeah, that's wonderful. All righty. I want to respect your time and move quickly. New Visions of Africa restaurant right next door to W.B. Hill on Fayetteville Street. On weekdays, they have free lunches, or rather dinners, from 3 until 6. Just to let you know, if you are in need, you must wear a mask. But yes, you can get a free dinner at New Visions of Africa restaurant. No strings attached. And also, this is happening today. So it's Tuesday through Thursday. This is a new resource, at least for me. Nehemiah Christian Center on Mangum Street, that's downtown. They will be giving away free lunches today until 1 o'clock. And then tomorrow, with it being Friday, from 10 until noon. I'm saying this now. I won't be able to say this tomorrow. But tomorrow from 10 until noon, they will be giving away boxes of produce. That's wonderful. And then I'll tell you tomorrow about the big grocery giveaway, which will be curbside and at the door at Nehemiah on Saturday. That's Saturday morning. I'll tell you about that on tomorrow. But for today, free bag lunches at Nehemiah Christian Center until, let's see, noon until 1. And then tomorrow, produce boxes 10 until noon. All right, so you can get the address and read all about that. Phone number, etc., can be found on the Word page. What else is on the Word page? Oh, this is a class I want to tell you about. SCORE. SCORE is awesome. That is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. They give free counseling and mentoring for entrepreneurs, people wanting to start businesses. So they have a class. Let's see what their latest class is. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. So today from 1 until 2, tips to publish your website with confidence. I'm definitely going to attend that one. You can determine the purpose of your homepage, learn the best way for visitors to visit your website, to contact and do business with you. I want all of that. So yeah, so that is today and it is free. Go to the Word page, sign up and attend that class. All right, okay, now that is it. Now let's go to the To Your Health page. All righty, last call, Durham County has free face masks, reusable face masks for nonprofits operating within Durham County. So contact them immediately. Well, don't call them. You just go to the health page and then you can sign on online. And they usually have enough masks for your staff and maybe even for your volunteers and maybe even a few for the people you serve. It's depending on how many is left because this is only for the month of July. So this is it. I don't know if they're accepting orders tomorrow, but that is the last day. This is only for the month of July. So if you're running a nonprofit within Durham County, get your free reusable face masks from Durham County. You can read about that again. That is on the health page. It's called To Your Health in Durham Skywriter. And then I list different places where you can get COVID-19 tests, also for kids at Lincoln Community Health Center. And let's see, is that it for the health page? Okay, let's go to the legal page. It's called Legalese. And I will tell you about Kids Voting Art Challenge. That's also listed on the Zoom Kids page, by the way. But the Kids Voting Art Challenge is for young people ages 18 and under. We want the young folks to tell us how important it is to vote. Some of us need convincing. So here's the thing. Young people aged 18 and under are invited to create a work of art, convincing us to vote, letting us know how important it is. Each vote counts. You just can't tell us who to vote for. That's against the rules. But so make it square, like 1080 by 1080. And then if you don't want to do that, you can make a 1-minute video. And kids are so incredibly creative. I want to see what they come up with. Or you can write a short poem or spoken word piece. So this is going to be fantastic. They will be promoting the winners. I hope to interview a few of the winners. So we'll see. Let's see. So it says your work might be featured in Kids Voting Drums. Get out the vote efforts throughout the community and in social media. That's why they want your artwork to be 1080 by 1080 square, so it could fit on Instagram and whatnot. And you might win a Kids Voting t-shirt. Okay. I forgot to mention the deadline is Monday, August 3rd. So get to work immediately, maybe get to work over the weekend, get your thoughts together, and definitely submit your entry by the deadline. They don't say what time, but just get it in Monday, August 3rd, and let me know if you win. All right. Also, one more item on the Legal Ease page. Let's see. Legal Aid NC. On Fridays, they have something called Freeform Friday, and that's where you can join the discussion. I think it's going to be on Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. And you can, if I'm wrong, well, the link is right there on the page there, on the Legal Ease page. You can find out. But basically, they talk about different topics dealing with the law. You can get pointed in the right direction if you have a particular thing you're dealing with. You might even be able to get free representation and free legal help. That's what Legal Aid is all about, Legal Aid North Carolina. So that is going to be tomorrow from 11 until noon. Read about it on the Legal Ease page. Get that link. Okay, let's now go to the final page. It's called Let's Go. Obviously, it's the calendar events page. Let's see what's going on today. Durham County Sheriff's Office, the Animal Services Division, they have resumed their rabies vaccination clinic. So this is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. They changed the hours. So today, this morning, they had one session. I shouldn't say session because you make appointments. But anyway, their hours, 9:30 until 11. But their afternoon hours are now 2 to 3:30. You can't just walk in anymore. They do want you to make an appointment. And this is for pets that are 4 months old or older. $10 cash only, okay? And you make your appointment. You got to have your photo ID because they only serve people in Durham County. So read about that on the Let's Go page. All right, take care of your pet. Desi L. Campbell, he has a weekly Let's Talk Genealogy webinar. So tonight it will be from 6 until 6:30, and the link can be found again on the Let's Go page. A very, 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 very important panel discussion will be co-hosted by the North Carolina Justice Center, Health Action NC, and Community for the Education of Every Child NC. And the panel discussion is called Unsafe and Unequal is Unacceptable. That is this evening from 7 until 8:30. Topics to be discussed will include making sure that the schools are equipped to deal with both the COVID-19 and the importance of expanding Medicaid to protect North Carolinians during the pandemic. Very important. Not just during the pandemic and beyond. Okay, I left out two very important words there. So it's a Zoom meeting. So be sure to go to the Let's Go page and get the link so you can attend that and hopefully join the conversation. Again, it's called Unsafe and Unequal is Unacceptable from 7 until 8:30, 8:15 this evening. All righty, one item for tomorrow. The Salvation Army of Durham, they're on Liberty Street. They have something called Free Food Friday. That's every Friday from 9 till 11. They welcome volunteers, but if you are in need, you can go there and get canned goods, meats, drinks, snacks. Sometimes they have hygiene items, and sometimes they even have pet food. So take a copy of your apartment or home lease agreement, and then have your current photo ID. That's all they ask. And they also ask, if you have a strong bag, take that with. So that is, again, from 9 until 11. Yes, very important. All righty. And let me know if I'm missing anything. Barb is here. Okay. Barb, I'll be right there with you. Let me give the weather report real quick, Barb. All right. It is 87. I'm curious. It looks like out in the northwest. It's 87. It's partly sunny. It's going up to 90 today. We might have afternoon thunderstorms. And then tomorrow it's going up to 91. And again, we might get afternoon thunderstorms. And I do hope you share this out so that more people can find out what's happening today and tomorrow in Durham. So now let us visit with Barb and see what's going on.
Hi.
Barb, what's new?
Well, I am out on my deck right now. That's live behind me. I don't know if I ever told you, but I have an all-in-one system that I put out here for the summertime. And somehow the driver got overridden for the webcam. And I pay for super duper tech support service. And since COVID, I've not been able to get anybody to help me out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm stuck on that. But late yesterday, I did figure out how to use my phone as a camera because I was in a conference and be able to use Manicam so I could use all the different scenes, you know.
Okay.
But I fired it up just now while I was waiting for you, and I am. It's anybody's guess as to whether I can get it to work. But I did.
Well, I hope you
You
can.
know what I look like, and anyway, so
You are no Barb.
huh?
How are your puppies though?
I want to. Can I do a screen share real quick?
Sure.
Let me, because I have it
Absolutely.
open in the other tab because the most incredible thing happened this morning. Let me
Ooh.
get, let's see, your entire screen, a tab. There it is. This is from Flickr. It uploaded today.
Okay.
And this is what happened to me the first time I took Lady out for a walk this morning.
Ooh, what is that?
That is a deer, a face
Oh.
off. Now, they didn't.
Whoa.
I'm hoping I have the video because I turned, I turned the video on when it didn't upload to Flickr, and it's probably because it was too long. But I actually did a video of them two with this face off, just to
Wow.
see what was going to happen. Because I mean, literally, the deer just they're about 18 inches apart in
That's
the end,
amazing.
staring each
Amazing.
other down. And I thought,
Wow.
what's going to happen? Is the deer going to pounce on her? Is she going to bark? She never barked. She never growled. They just studied each other.
Interesting.
And then finally, I just, in a very quiet voice, I said, "Lady, come on, we got to go back." And she just turned around and came back with me, came back to the leash, and we went on back to, because I knew that the deer was behind me, and I've had them follow me and nudge me on the shoulder before. And
Really?
yeah, and I'm not in the mood to have that done this morning.
I mean, aggressively or just
no,
like
no,
hello?
they know I belong, and it's all.
Wow.
I guess I should have. I'm sorry, I didn't do it so that it's full screen. I just noticed
That's
that.
okay. Oh, there you go.
There
Yeah.
you see it. I'm sorry. And then I can.
There you go.
And then you can shut off the screen share, and I can go back. But that is really phenomenal.
That is amazing. So you said you didn't turn around, so you don't know if the deer followed you or turned.
I'm sure
the
it
other
went,
direction.
because that where you see the dirt off to the left, that's the way down to the lake.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I'm sure that it was trying to get down to the lake, and then just caught lady coming over to go potty on the grass, and she decided to watch her, and was just mesmerized by what she was doing. So, and then lady looked up, and they just had a stare down. It was incredible.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because
now you've taken it off, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I've seen, unfortunately, here in Durham, the only deer I see have been killed by the side of the road. But when I was in Washington, D.C., though, I was surprised. I was visiting my friend Debbie, and I saw a deer out in her backyard, and she said that was commonplace. And I was thinking, this Washington, D.C., I just couldn't imagine if there could be any wildlife there. But
yeah.
Washington, D.C. has lots of birds, too. Whenever you're walking around in D.C., they're everywhere.
Right.
Always singing.
It's been I haven't been to D.C., oh, gosh, since I think last time was 2000, if I'm not mistaken, that I was there in person.
I got to go to a conference there earlier this year, right before. In fact, the coronavirus was just gaining notoriety in the news, and hadn't quite hit us yet, because this was in was it February or March? I think it was the early March, I think. And right before everything shut down, I got to go to this one conference, and it was quite interesting. I'm really ready for all of this to end, though, aren't you?
Absolutely. I saw one of my ballooning friends, one of the women friends, just put a whole list of things that I'm ready for all this to end.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I just went down the list, every single thing I could. Yep.
Yeah.
I've had enough of it. But
And speaking of balloons, was it you or someone posted this gorgeous shot of a sunrise with a solitary balloon?
right, wasn't that something?
Was
That was
beautiful.
Scott. He is a pilot for Rainbow Riders, which is a balloon company. Which it's actually the official ride provider for the Balloon Fiesta, but
Okay.
they also have locations in Colorado and in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the guys are in Colorado Springs right now. I think they were going back this week
Okay.
to New Mexico this weekend, or to could be New Mexico or to Arizona. I'm not sure. Those guys, they travel all three of those states.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a heavy ride schedule up there that was safe. I'm sure,
Mm-hmm.
because you're in the ballooning group, you've seen how they've um, uh, adapted to the situation of
Sure.
today, and
Sure.
been able to deploy safe ride practices. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then he didn't take the shot. Troy Bradley took the shot,
Oh, okay.
and he's one of the other pilots for that, and for Rainbow Riders. But
Well, it sure was a
it was
pretty
of
shot.
Scott. Yeah, it was Scott's balloon, and then Scott took a photo. If you go in that thread, he took a photo of him looking up
Mm-hmm.
at that balloon, of his
Oh, nice.
looking at Troy. So you have the opposite, and it's really
Oh,
cool, both
nice.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
very
go back
fortunate.
and look for that. Yeah.
So, but wow, you say it's going to get up to 90 degrees
Yeah,
today?
it's only 87 right now.
Well, girlfriend, I think I have got you beat right now. Already I can feel how the heat coming in. Actually, right now it's only 78,
Okay. Oh,
and
okay.
it's supposed to be 100 by 3 p.m., 102 by 4 p.m. But I can
Oh
just
my
feel
gosh.
the way that it is rising, that
Isn't
it's
that
coming in fast.
strange?
Yeah,
What a
and
wide temperature difference.
right. It's I'm not so sure. Let me see. No, it says I'm at 78 at the
Isn't that
moment.
amazing? In 70s and then all the way up to 102.
Well, it's coming fast.
Was that
I can
lady?
feel it. That's Lady. Both of the
Oh,
kids
both
are
of them.
there. You go. They're
That's
out
Kitty.
there for you. So he's doing
Okay.
much better. He's put more weight back on, but he hasn't
That was
been.
scary. You said he lost 2 pounds. That was
Yeah.
scary.
Well, it was looking like skin and bones, but he looks better now. He looks as good as he did when he went in.
Good, good.
But and his personality has changed significantly for the better. And
Oh.
since the last time that we chatted live,
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to sleep at night, because before I was getting up every 2 hours to take them potty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that my potty routine worked in with theirs, so that was cool. But
Okay.
the last these last 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
they have slept in. I've only had to take them one time in the night, and then
Mm-hmm.
we get up at 5:30 for the day.
Early.
So instead of like three times, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and definitely
Well,
made a
that's
difference.
good for you because you don't want to lose sleep like that.
Exactly. It wasn't
Boy.
healthy. But the other thing that happened since we last chatted, I've
Mm-hmm.
been keeping, as part of the motivation routine, I've been keeping track of the steps I walk each day.
Right.
Remember, it's 10,000 steps a day goal, so that the
Mm-hmm.
next time I get to go to Balloon Fiesta, I can walk the field. Well, Garmin's server was attacked. The watch that I use to
Oh.
record all that, and their server was attacked. And this was, because I think the last time actually that I was with you, sometime middle of July,
Okay.
and And it was like the very next day that this
Mm-hmm.
happened, and their server was attacked. And it still
Really?
is not, I still get the notice that they're still working on the
Whoa.
server. They had the,
What is so stupid? What a waste of time.
but fortunately for me, and
Mm-hmm.
because I do know that you have senior citizens listening to your program,
Mm-hmm.
is it always be careful about putting your personal information in those apps. I mean, it's one thing.
Yeah.
I would not put, like, they wanted you to put your payment information so that you could buy things for your health,
Oh,
while you
no.
were
That
doing
doesn't sound
that.
like a good idea.
And I just said, ain't no way I'm going to do that. Naturally, then,
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. You just can't say, well, we're so big and we have this wonderful IT department, et cetera, et cetera. It happens to the biggest of
Yeah.
them. And I think
Wow.
that was brought home yesterday in the hearings when the copies of the emails that uh, Zuckerberg had sent in 2012, they
Mm-hmm.
brought up, made it very visible for all of us that he had sent those emails. And he sent them in confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And the company was publicly traded at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
it was confidential conversation that was sent, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing is confidential. And
Not really.
you have
Mm-mm.
to really think about that in anything that you do. And you get back to the old postal mail game that we all grew up with, and putting a
Mm-hmm.
stamp on a piece of paper and sending it off somewhere. You
Mm-hmm.
can't even trust that.
I know.
I mean, we now have video images of people even stealing Amazon orders as they're being delivered to
I
homes and
know,
stuff.
right? Crazy.
So you just have to watch and be very cautious about keeping your information close to you, because
Very much so.
you will find it on the internet
Mm-hmm.
at
Yeah.
some point. So it's really sad.
Yeah.
But so everybody, how are things? I haven't looked at the COVID situation in North Carolina
Um,
lately. I mean,
there
I
can, well,
sorry.
I guess the most important thing, well, I shouldn't say most, well, it's most important to me, I guess, even though I'm not a mom, the schools, what to
Mm-hmm.
do with the kiddies. So the first 9 weeks here in Durham, all the kids will learn at home. And a lot of parents they just don't know what to do. I mean, some of them
Right.
have to go to work anyway. You can imagine. So
Yes.
they just want they're playing it safe, and I think it's good because we just lost an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say no, it's not really affecting the kids, it's affecting the kids all right. So the first 9 weeks are going to be remote learning, and then after that, depending on what the parent wants, some kids can go back to school. All the high school kids
Mm-hmm.
will stay at home, and then the parents can decide
Indefinitely on the high school kids is
for
for
the school year.
the
See
whole
what?
school year.
Yeah,
Wow.
because here's what they're trying to do for the elementary and middle school kids. They want 50% um, attendance. So the only way they can do that, because there's only, I was watching a teacher trying to put the desks 6 feet apart. It was impossible in her small class. It was
Yeah.
impossible. So what they're doing here in Durham, at least, 50% capacity. So the elementary and middle school kids will be, the classrooms will be like divided in half in terms of attendance, and they will use the high school buildings for the second half, so to speak, of these classrooms to handle the 50% capacity. So half the class will be in the regular class, and the other half will be wherever. Anyway, the way they're figuring it out is which kids will be sent over to the high schools and which kids will be remaining at their home schools. They're figuring that out right now. They probably need that extra 9 weeks to work that out. Yeah. Plus, again, the parents will have the opportunity to um, to figure out whether they to decide whether they want their kids in middle and elementary school to be schooled at home. They can make that decision themselves. So I guess after all the data's in, then they'll figure out how to divide up the spaces. It's
Yeah.
really convoluted.
Yeah.
But it's the best they could do. I mean, you can't possibly have 30 kids because Durham is it's not quite Chicago where you can have 40 and 45 kids in a class. I mean, at the most, I guess you can have maybe up to 25 here in Durham.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's a lot. I mean, if you're trying to keep them 6 feet apart from each other, so that's the best they could think of. I couldn't think of a better solution myself. I think it's kind of clever. If you can trust your high schooler to stay home while you're at work and do their work, do their lessons, I don't know.
Well, that's where like remember this is that I'm streaming from, that you're seeing this atmosphere is an IP cam, and people use those for security as well. But they have this is a 1080 actually goes up to 4 megapixels, I think.
I was going to say it's awfully good quality for security.
Yeah. It goes up to 4 megapixels, and I think standard, for streaming is 1080. Yeah. And then of course, StreamYard, I'm sure you saw that they have 1080 available now to professional accounts. And but through interpolation, you get as good. The live streaming, that's always arguable, but it looks pretty darn good to me coming through StreamYard. On because you have the basic plan, don't you?
The basic, right, which is still 720.
720, but through interpolation, and being with these and going through the internet, you can see the quality doesn't look bad.
To me, the quality is good. I mean, I have my Ethernet cable going directly to my router.
Yeah, and same here. I have. Actually, you know what? This is on Wi-Fi this morning. I didn't put the Ethernet.
Oh, impressive!
So that's even more impressive. But my router is right on behind me, right behind this scene. Inside my master suite is where my router is. Okay. So that's probably why it's the 5G kind of thing. Anyway, Patricia, we're in the same age group.
I'm 64. I'm 64.
I'm a little bit older, but not a whole lot. But we don't have to. But definitely, what we have been through in history, one thing. But you also had a passion for journalism throughout your life.
Absolutely.
And are you really happy with the way that things are being reported these days in general? Do you feel that the students who are brought up in journalism today...
I was never pleased with I was never pleased with the journalism business, and that when I was a child, how can I put it? Journalism was a weapon against my community.
Right.
And diversity meant saving the good stories for one community and covering all the bad news in the other. That's not quite diversity. But yeah, so I've always been displeased. Even now, I'm very displeased with.
Right. Well, that part really hasn't changed all that much, has it?
No.
And so I thought I would, when you say, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I ended up doing that through virtual fashion, these avatars and stuff that people are doing. I ended up fulfilling that dream, but not until I was 58 years old.
Okay.
It's a few years back. So,
that's awesome.
That was before Blab, before we met.
Very cool. Very cool.
But then, so I did get to take those drawings, bring them to life, and in those virtual environments, I got to see that, and they actually used a currency for people to buy them that could be turned into US dollars. So it got my attention, needless to say. When I was in the hospital with cancer, struggling to survive, and my avatar was working her buns off and making a living,
Wow. Okay, I got you.
So, but that's all technology. So I believe in technology used in a good way. In a good way.
Even though I loved journalism and was displeased with how journalism was practiced when I was a kid, it was technology that forced me to get involved.
Mhm.
When they came out with them, I was the first person in my crowd to get a computer. I had a Macintosh. I got my first Apple computer in 1989. In fact,
Yeah.
wait, before then, wait a minute. Before then, I had the Atari 800 XL. We're going
Yeah.
way back. Yeah.
Right.
But technology is what made me realize that I could help my community with journalism. This is back home in Chicago, and after I moved here to Durham, I decided to keep it up. I think we need more people like me. I don't mean like me, like my personality or anything. I mean people who love their communities and who want to
Right.
share information and help them,
I think
by
I'm
the internet
drawn
or
to
whatever.
you because I think we're in total alignment in that thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Technology is, I mean, look at me. I am in my kitchen
mhm.
talking to you in Oregon, and I'm
Right, clear
able,
across the United States, from one end
and
to the other. You know?
with no audio lag,
Mhm.
and I can reach my neighbors in their households if they would only tune in. But anyway,
Yeah.
but I have the ability to reach Durhamites without leaving my kitchen, and I Barb, I am so pleased. I have talked to people who, because they learned it from me, people who have lost their jobs, who have been able to get help,
Mhm.
not just with food, but with their water bill, because the city of Durham has a program to help you with their water bill. Durham County has emergency funds to help people with their mortgage payments and their rent payments, people who have been affected by COVID-19.
Mhm.
And I am just thrilled when I hear from people who have learned from me what to do and have gone out and gotten help, and I love this business
Mhm.
for that reason, because there are people, they don't know what's going on, they're in trouble, and I can you imagine just being desperate and having kids too. This one lady, she's taking care of her mom also, and people in our age group, some people in our age group are taking care of the youngsters and the parents at the same time. My sister was in that position. My niece is grown now, but while my sister was recovering from cancer, and in fact, she was dealing with cancer at one point, she had a preteen and taking care of my dad who had Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. Fortunately, she had a husband too, and still does. He's
Yeah.
very helpful. I don't want to dismiss Donald's. In fact, Donald saved our dad's life, literally. So yeah, Pop was having something that we thought was a heart. It turned out not to be a heart attack, but it was life threatening. And Donald did not wait for 911. He just threw Pop in the car and drove with one hand all the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
Saved his life. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Wow.
technology, to get back to technology, it is wonderful. You just have to learn how to use it. I think those of us who are in our 60s are not afraid of technology. I think some of us have not been exposed to it. I went to a small, impoverished college, so we didn't have computers, or we had one computer in the classroom. And when we visited an Ivy League school and each kid had a computer, I was like, whoa.
Mhm.
So some people in our age group have not had the opportunity to get in with technology when it was first introduced to us. But in fact, a friend of mine had to go to when she got her job, she had to go to a special class to get caught up with
Mhm.
technology so she could do her job properly. But for those of us who've been into technology since the 80s, and in your case, and before the 80s, right? 70s, right?
Well,
Late
yeah,
70s?
the 64K IBM. I put together this 64K IBM PC that was delivered to Central Oregon before leaving, and I think that was 81 or 82.
Okay.
81.
Mm-hmm.
when I started. And then I ended up at E.F. Hutton on an Apple IIe because of
Wow.
stock
Okay.
market. I had a, a friend who was a programmer on the
Mm-hmm.
Apple
Mm-hmm.
IIe, and he developed a stock watching program.
Cool.
So went to Apple, and
Mm-hmm.
from there, the brokers needed to communicate with each other in the various
Mm-hmm.
offices, and so between my friend and me, we developed a BBS program
Oh
to
man, I remember
to
those.
just for their internal communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I also, I had the sales and speaking background, the marketing background, then Hutton wanted me to train nationally, train brokers nationally and help them
Okay.
out because I was very instrumental in the success of several brokers in our office.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I was kind of the odd man out. I wasn't a secretary. When you grew up,
Mm-hmm.
if you were a woman and you could type, your destiny was to become a secretary. And especially if you had great legs, then you could be an executive secretary. Remember back,
Oh,
way back, do you have the legs?
okay.
Now this is in
I don't
Denver
know.
and in Los Angeles,
Okay.
in that environment. So I don't know in North Carolina
You
if it
mean
had
to
been.
tell me during the interview they would?
Oh, back in the day, absolutely, girlfriend. I
Okay.
was I was a marketing officer. I was the first female marketing officer for an investment brokerage firm in New Mexico.
Okay.
And they literally, the CEO of the firm had a little black book that he would, in the morning when he came in, check to make sure the women had no runs in their stockings. No runs in your stockings. That was not allowed. And it didn't
Okay.
matter what um, ethnic background you came from. I was in where I worked, I had um, just about everything represented because
Mm-hmm.
of the military bases are there in
Oh.
Albuquerque, and
Mm-hmm.
so there everything is there, and so just a
Mm-hmm.
melting pot. So it wasn't about that, but it was definitely a female thing, female versus male. We
How
had to go
weird.
through that.
So
Uh,
he was checking the legs to make sure there were no
well,
runs.
right, it wasn't personal that the legs were good looking or not good looking. It was presentable, professional, and
Okay.
that we had lipstick
Of
on.
course, of course, no woman is going to put on stockings and accept a run anyway. Really,
Yeah,
unless
technically speaking, right. That
I
tells you
mean,
how much men
except
listened
by
to women
accident.
back then, as
Yeah.
well as perhaps it's carried through
Oh,
decade
weird.
after decade.
That is
But
so
that has,
weird.
but really, it was more long before. It's like even the civil rights thing, women, being able to vote. It was more
Mm-hmm.
the women thing
Mm-hmm.
than the male thing.
Yeah, I got you.
But it on the journalism side back
Mm-hmm.
in the old days, I really believe there was more ethics involved. That the the
Well,
principles that were outlined for us back then,
mm-hmm.
we did respect them. We did do the research. We did go,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean now, literally in the last 2 days, I was googling because of some very heated things that happened over the last couple of days that were going around.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I think it was either yesterday morning or the morning before that things hit. I was on, it was early. I hadn't had my first cup of coffee. And one of the things I do in checking the news, because I don't have a paper newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
is I will check news.google.com, news.bing.com, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have another one that's a private one to check and what the internet is pulling up as news.
Mm-hmm.
And on both on Bing and on Google, I watched the headlines from the same organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Washington Post is a good example, but from not just the Washington Post, but mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the same article, same
Mm-hmm.
destination that you went to, and the headlines change within
Okay.
minutes
Oh, wow.
that they edited them.
Mm-hmm.
And they went from being, to me, newsworthy to being,
Hysterical.
well, they were definitely pointed one direction versus another,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to discount credibility of people who were professionals.
Yeah.
And so that's where I said to my husband, I said, I've watched these things in question, and what everybody forgets is that people, to have these licenses that they claim, these are
Mm-hmm.
all registered, they're regulated by
Yeah.
government. So they're all things that can be verified. And
Mm-hmm.
journalists, first and foremost, should know how to do that.
Yeah, but again, I think it depends on who you're reporting on. You can practice wonderful ethics when you're covering the people you like. I was just proofreading a book about the militia, military in North Carolina, and how I was amazed. I just didn't know. I had no idea about the Black community in North Carolina in the between Reconstruction eras, put it that way, or rather, we should say between the 1860s and 1920s, which covers more than Reconstruction. But I was shocked. I just didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that Black people, well, the men, wanted to enter the armed forces, and how they were patriotic, and how they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to prove their mettle, and how
Mm-hmm.
they and how when they were sent off, the whole Black community would show up and they'd have picnics and kiss the men goodbye as they went to war. The particular war that I was reading about was, 1898. Cuba and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I had no idea that Black people were interested in military service and all that. The reason I'm mentioning it is because certain newspapers, because we're talking about the South, we're talking about North Carolina, so certain now the Black newspapers were talking about, our boys, going to war and yay team and all that kind of stuff. Whereas not all, but many of the white papers would talk about the drunken brawls and how the
Mm-hmm.
Black men on the trains coming back from the war, how they were, raping and pillaging.
Right.
And the people who were there were like, no, they had a picnic.
Yeah.
And how the papers were saying, the marauding,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so journalism, maybe they had good ethics in reporting on their community, but unfortunately, if there's a bad motivation behind covering other communities, then good journalism just goes out the window. And I think that's happened. It's still happening. It's still
Yes.
happening. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So journalism, it can be a wonderful profession. Uh, it could be used as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Words are just
Well,
like
that became very
bullets.
clear in these
Yeah.
last 3 days, and how they,
Oh, for sure.
what they did, and not doing the research, and they were trying to discredit people
Mm-hmm.
that were required to have licenses, were
Mm-hmm.
registered in their communities, countries, and so forth and so on. And it's like, but they just didn't even do they didn't even bother to do the research,
Mm-hmm.
and took the steps that they did. It was really sad.
Yeah.
And so you pretty much have to tune it out as an individual if you don't have skin in the game, that
Right.
you don't, because like someone, for me in my cancer story, I can't get too excited about things, and even though I'd love to.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at it and I look at it's like, where do we go now? Will you and I in our 60s, can we be safe in our homes? Can we be
That might be
assured?
the only place we could be safe.
Yeah. But what is quality of life then?
Mm-hmm.
How can
Exactly.
we? Because not everybody embraced technology.
Very
When,
true.
like that you pointed that out, when we were kids, they didn't do that.
And
And
you
then
and
when they
you.
and some of those who did
Mm-hmm.
it kicking and screaming. They didn't want to do it. They only did it for their job.
But you know what, Barb? It was really interesting to watch. I was there when the companies were going from IBM Selectrics
Mm-hmm.
to word processing, computers. I was a
Mm-hmm.
proofreader, so we
Mm-hmm.
had to write everything in very light blue pencil and erase
Mm-hmm.
very carefully because we submitted to the typist back then and they'd make the corrections. If there were
Uh-huh.
enough corrections, they'd have to retype the whole page. When we were told to use red pencil, because we were switching to computer. They had to show us. We couldn't believe. We just didn't understand. How is it we can mark the page in red? And anyway, we didn't understand because it was a new thing. But the wave of retirements, you would not believe the turnover. Because so many of the older operators who were, because I was in my 20s and 30s, they
Mm-hmm.
were in their 60s and some 70s, and they quit en masse. I don't blame them because it was a totally new world.
Mm-hmm.
But the wave of retirements were astonishing. How they had to scramble to find replacements so fast, just because they were um, making improvements. They couldn't see it because
They didn't see it as improvements.
no, I mean they had to relearn it. Discs. What are these
Mm-hmm.
floppy discs? Back
Right.
then the discs were like dinner plate size, and just the concept
Right.
of making these corrections with technology as opposed to just whiting out something and correcting it that way.
Right.
You
Well, when
know.
I was in my first year of college and I was working as a stringer for a paper in my first year of college,
Mm-hmm.
the uh, IBM was a big name,
Mm-hmm.
really big name. And just they were looking for people to just beta test their electric entry,
Mm-hmm.
of typewriters. And then I ended up when I in 72 when I went with my went to work for the CPA firm. I was in the beta program with IBM with
Nice.
the Selectric typewriters, the correcting Selectric typewriters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the little white tape that
Mm-hmm.
to correct our errors and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually have when they talk about hoarding and that I have some of those mag cards. I just kept a couple decks because
Wow.
I knew it was going to be historic,
Mm-hmm.
and same with some of the foils from the IBM promotions and that
Mm-hmm.
because it really was an incredible time in history.
It
And I
really
think
was.
we are in another incredible time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you and I met through Blab, and when we met, I was chanting back then. I said, I've dreamed about this day for 40
Mm-hmm.
years. Just
Wow.
to be able to very smoothly point and click and connect with people
Mm-hmm.
and not have it go down instantly, and because, like you say, the quality is compared to where we were is
Mm-hmm.
exceptional back then.
Tell me about it. Tell me.
And
It's just amazing
but
how people are clamoring for 1080 when back then, what was it, 320?
320, right? Yeah, you remember. I have some really really old video, and I thought it'd be kind of because I thought, well, with even with interpolation that's available through various applications,
Mm-hmm.
and that you couldn't get better than a 640, which is
Wow.
twice that. I mean, it was a big deal to get
Mm.
640.
Actually, you don't have to work very hard to see my horrible. Well, the interviews weren't horrible, but the image. Can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine? I had slow internet trying to live stream. But if you go to my YouTube channel and
Uh-huh.
you just look for TV Skywriter and go to the first shows, which were on Google Plus,
Uh-huh.
you can barely make me out.
Wow.
Seriously.
Well, you can take those and then put them like a picture in a picture of, in using a video editor application.
Oh.
You then they would be small. You can be today, and it's like me back then, and put your image from back then, and actually that creates a new video on YouTube.
That would
But
be cool.
do that for your Throwback Thursdays.
Like a podcast.
Yeah, Or I mean, it's like
Because
where I was,
I've had some good interviews. Yeah, I've had some good
Yeah.
ones through the
So
years.
and then where are they today? I mean, you could do the research and finding where they were today, and
Actually, there are a couple of interviews I'd like to redo
mm-hmm.
because they were so good, and the technology is such that you can actually see me and my guest.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were just very fuzzy. My favorite interview, or one of my favorite interviews, was a gentleman. He was the first Black Secret Service agent.
Wow.
Not the very first, but the very first for, not the first in Washington D.C., but the first in, I can't remember his story. Was it Illinois? But anyway, his story is amazing. This guy, I'm going to keep this short because I want to attend. There's a webinar at 1:00 I wanted to attend. But
Right.
this gentleman was assigned to uh, Washington D.C. President Kennedy was looking for the bathroom, and he helped President Kennedy find the bathroom. And he was stuck way in the back
Sorry.
because they didn't want anyone to see this black officer. So they
Mm-hmm.
stuck him way in the back by the bathroom. So
Mm-hmm.
he was able to direct President Kennedy to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then President Kennedy, when he came out, he looked at him and he said, "What's your name, soldier or officer or whatever?" And so he recruited him. So he got to work with JFK.
Mm-hmm.
And because of his innocence, being from not Chicago, but Illinois, small town Illinois, he had that small town innocence. Okay. So he actually warned his bosses about the bad eggs in JFK's Secret Service staff. And he warned them. I can't make the story any too long, but let's put it this way. The fact that Kennedy was assassinated was, when you heard it from the perspective of a gentleman I interviewed, it was really no surprise. They hated him. They
Mm-hmm.
absolutely hated him. When he warned his bosses, they had trumped up charges and threw him in jail long enough,
Oh.
long enough so that Kennedy could be assassinated, and
Oh.
with no warrant. It's an amazing book. It's from Dealey Plaza, something like that. From
Well, be
Dealey.
sure to send me a
Yeah.
link to the interview when you can.
Okay.
I have, and I actually have software that I can deal with that. So if you don't, I can help you out.
I appreciate it, Barb. I appreciate that. I will send you the link for sure.
Okay. Well,
And
you have
also
an
to the
awesome
book.
rest of your day. I'm
Thank
going
you.
to
You
let you go.
too.
I got meetings to attend myself.
Okay. Thanks for dropping in, Barb.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Take care. That's it for today for Bull City Hangout 7:30. If you would like to come on the show, Barb did not come by what's the word, invitation. I invite everyone. She drops in when she likes. I would like for you to drop in if you like. You can do so. I do this show every day at noon, every weekday at noon, Saturday at 10. And with that, have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.